Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Thursday night Scrap Your Scraps. Tonight we're just going to do a quick little video with a couple of options for making envelopes. I have a super simple, you've got something that's a weird size and you need an envelope for it, and none of your envelopes fit. I've got a solution for you. I've got this cute little origami envelope for you, and I've also got a cute little pop-up envelope where when you open up the inside you can have a little treat or a little message inside the box. So we have all of those options for you tonight. I'm going to first start with the grab something, not got an envelope to fit it, and we're going to do that one first. So this is a very simple, easy fix when you're on the run and don't have a lot of time. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm going to make this one again. Whoop. So this is a little traveler's notebook that I made. It's kind of thick, but it needs to have an envelope to send it to a friend. So I'm going to take a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and it doesn't matter what the thickness is for this one because there's no detail. In the other two, it's better if your thickness is the thinner pattern paper. I am going to start with measuring. So in order to make an envelope the size that you want for your item, you're going to want to make sure that you measure the diagonal of the item you're trying to make an envelope for. So the diagonal on this is 9 inches, and I'm going to add an inch. So regardless of what size the item is, this is 2 3/16 inches, so I'm going to make it 3 3/16 inches. So you're always adding that extra inch to the diagonal measurement. Okay, so now I know that this was 9 inches plus 1 is 10. I'm going to cut my paper to a 10 by 10. So I've got my trimmer here. I use my this kind of trimmer, I forget what it's called, for my lighter paper. Don't need a chopper for this kind of paper. So 10 by 10. Oh, I don't want to take off all the green, so I'm going to make it look a little prettier. I'm going to keep some of that green in. So I'm taking 10 and a half, and now I have to take a half an inch off on this side. That's not what I would normally do, but I didn't want to miss out on the green on this side. So let me review. We're measuring the diagonal. I found that it's 9 inches. I add an extra inch onto my measurement in order for the flaps to fold properly. So I need a 10 by 10 square. Put my 12 by 12 paper in, take off 2 inches, take off 2 inches, and now I have a 10 by 10 inch square. You following? I hope. All right, I'm going to keep the fancy side out. The last one I did, I used the fancy side as the inside of the envelope, but I'm going to keep the fancy side out for this one. Now, you're going to put it on a diagonal like a diamond, and you're going to try to sort of position it central. It's not really a big deal if you don't make it completely centered. It still will work. And you're going to fold all the sides in. Okay, and remember mine is kind of thick, so it's going to have a little bit more space in it. The thinner it is, the easier it is. And all I do at the bottom is I just kind of tuck my finger in there so I can fold this up properly and just get a fold line. And then I do the same here, kind of push down the edges there so I can get a proper fold line. Okay, then I take it apart and I find my little scissors, which always seem to go missing. Oh, they're in their place they're supposed to be. That's incredible. And now I'm going to just trim out these corners with my little scissors. And because mine is thick, I don't have a really tight fold there, so I'm just going down the middle of it. There we go. And my last corner. All right. Okay, so now I have this envelope shaped thing. I'm going to tuck this little piece under because it's folded underneath, and I'm just going to put a little piece of adhesive on there so I don't have to deal with it. And now I'm going to fold all my edges up. And I can decide at this point if I want my envelope to be a top loader or a bottom loader. Whatever I want to do, I can decide at this point. Now, I've got a little overhang here, so I'm going to make this fancy. And I'm going to fold that so it has a little, maybe a little bit more, a little bit of a fancy finish. And there we go. Now, I'm leaving mine very loose. As you can see, it's very rounded because I have an object that has a thickness to it. If I was just doing a piece of paper, I would flatten it right out. So now I'm going to put some adhesive on the inside edges. I'm going to make this like a regular envelope. And I'm just putting my adhesive on the inside edges here. Oops. Make sure you don't. And closing that up. There we go. I'm gonna fold this over and tuck that in so it's a little more finished. That's a bit tricky, but trying to keep it lined up. It's not going to be perfect on one side. And just going to put a little bit of adhesive on that so it stays under. There we go. And this piece up here, we're going to put a bit of adhesive on. Keep that folded. So there is my envelope. I think it's rather cute. And because it's a thick, bulky envelope, it doesn't lie absolutely flat. And of course, you can put as much adhesive as you want on it. And there you go. So recapping, you're measuring the diagonal measurement of the item, the longest diagonal. And in this case, it was, my object is inside, so I should pull that out because the envelope is slightly bigger. So when I measure here, it is 9 inches, and then I add an inch to make 10 inches. I cut a 10-inch square. I fold everything over my item first, and then I trim out the little corners so that I don't have folds and extra paper, and then I fold it back over and glue it all together. And there's my quick and easy, any envelope you could ever want. Now, if you have an envelope board, you wouldn't need to worry about it because you have all those measurements and things. But this is one quick and sure way you can actually make an envelope without an envelope board to fit anything. So there's those 2 envelopes. Now, we're going to move on to the 2 origami ones. I'm going to show you the little one first. And this is such a cute little envelope. It just... but you have to use a bone folder. So any origami that you're doing, you must use a bone folder to make those folds nice and tight. Otherwise you end up like, I have to play around with this to find the right corner to do the tucking because only one of them really works. There, whoop, it's not that one. So if you fold very carefully, you can make sure that you get those things tucking in properly. But I just thought it was so cute that you could hide something in there, you know? Anyway, on we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our paper and we're going to do some measuring. So I am just measuring using my grid. My paper's not quite 6, which is annoying, but that happens sometimes. So I'm going in 2 and 2, and then, so 2 and 2 here, and I'm going to do 2 and 2 across the top. So I flipped it around to do that. And just kind of, there we go. Now, so I got the top measured 2 and 2 and the bottom measured 2 and 2, so I'm going to turn 90 degrees and do the other 2 sides, 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. So I'll review that. So on the side that's going to go inside, I've marked 2 inches, 2 inches, and then on this side I have 2 inches, 2 inches, and then on this side I have 2 inches, 2 inches, and on this side I have 2 inches and 2 inches. So when I fold, I'm going to fold at the 2-inch mark, lining it up with the edge of the paper. So there's one fold. Make sure you use your folder to make a nice tight fold. I'm going to do the same thing on the other line. I guess I really didn't have to do top and bottom, but I did. As long as, all right, so now I have 3 folds. Now I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing going the other way. That first one is the one you really want lined up the most. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this one in. I'm just turning the paper around because it's easier for me. You don't have to turn the paper around. If you can work left to right and right to left, whoops, you're good to go. Okay, so that was not a good lineup. So I'm going to line up here, line up there. I have to correct my fold there. I went a little too fast. There we go. All right. So now I have my pockets. So I moved in a little closer so you can see what's going on in the next few steps. So we're going to turn our paper so that it's the diamond points are towards us. We are going to take one point and go across and line it up with the top end, and try to make sure that you have the edges lined up because that will become important later. Okay, and you're only from where this square is on this side, oops, let me move it closer into the frame, and along that right side you're just going to fold. So you folded just from that point over, and you're going to do the same thing on this side. So just for the point where that square touches, you're not folding here, you're just folding along there. Okay, so in effect, even though there is sort of like a hazy ridge in the center, your fold lines are on these corner squares, okay, and not through the center. And then we're going to take the other one this way, and we're going to line that up, and we're going to do the same thing, find where that square is, try to make sure it's lined up. There we go. And then from this corner, again, where is it? There it is, out to the point. So you have folds all around the square that's in the center, okay, and no actual fold through the center. Even though there's a hazy kind of bend in the paper, the crisp fold lines are beyond that inner square. So you could, okay. The next step is we are going to take our corner and we're going to put it up to where the square is here, okay, and we're just going to line it up, but when we fold down, we are folding from the center of the square to the right, Okay, so we're just folding from the center of this fold to the right. This one we're not folding. So let's turn it again, lining up with where that point is on the square on the opposite corner, coming down, finding that where that point is on the opposite corner, and just folding to the right. Lining it up again, coming down, and folding to the right. And finally, up again, coming down, folding to the right. Okay? Now, what I suggest you do at this point is all of the folds that you have, let's just go back over all the folds. Remember to be careful not to get any folds in that center square. You're just going to fold things that are already folded. Try not to fold the center square. And then just so that all those folds are nice and firm, but nothing in the center square. Okay. So you can see that center square pulling together now. So now what we need to do, so the first time we're going to take this side, attach it to that side, and push down there. Okay. We're going to take this side, attach to that side, and push down. See how it's folding? Push down there. Okay. This side, and push down there. And there you have it. It takes some practice, but once you have it, it's very cool. And now I've realized that I've done all my folds on the wrong side. And that's the problem with having two-sided paper. So now what you're going to do is you're going to fold each of the star to crisscross each other. And let's just make sure those folds are nice and tight. This one's going to crisscross and line up nice and tight. And then this one, you're going to fold up as well, but you're going to tuck it into the last square. And there you have it. Ta-da! So now let's put our little guy in there, and now that you've folded, it kind of automatically wants to go where it needs to be. And you can just do it with one hand. Maybe not. There we go. Okay, and then fold, 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 and tuck under. Oops. Like I said, sometimes you have to find the one that tucks the best. There we go. And then I have my little surprise inside. Perfect. And this one was the original one. It's all ready to go right into where it needs to be. And this one turned out in the right direction. And again, you have to find that perfect tuck. It's going to be one of them. Nope. There we go. I think it's this guy. There we go. And that's our little guys. All right. All right, so the last one is this cute little leaf fold envelope, and your piece goes inside the envelope. All right, now This is again origami, so you're going to need your bone folder, and the measurements on this are super important. So if you do an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, this is what you end up with, and you can see that the dimensions are kind of weird, right? So this one is in good shape. This one is kind of weird. You've lost something there. So I'm going to give you the exact dimensions to get this. Now you can play with ratios to figure out larger envelopes, smaller envelopes, but this will give you your baseline so you don't end up with something that's like this on it. This is an 8.5 by 11, so do not use 8.5 by 11. What they want you to use is an A4 size, and an A4 size is in measurements that are millimeters rather than inches. And so any of the A sizes you can use, but in the same ratio. Okay, so you can go to an A3 size, an A2, A5 size, which will get bigger. So the smaller the number, the smaller the envelope, the bigger the number, the bigger the envelope. And you can search that on the internet. So you just put in A5, A6, whatever, and it'll tell you how many millimeters the exact shape is. So this is an A4. I'm going to lift my thing up a bit so I can show you more clearly. There we go. So this is an A4 piece of paper, and the measurements on this A4 piece of paper are 210 by 297 millimeters. I've put 8.5 by 11 in brackets there because when you look online it says it's equal to 8.5 by 11, but it is not. Trust me, it's a lot longer and skinnier. So you want to measure out a paper that's 210 by 297 millimeters. All right, so that is your first step. Cut your paper to that size. So I have here my original, and we're just going to really follow along. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your top. I still feel like I need to be a little higher. There we go. Sorry if it's not aligning perfectly. You're going to take your top left corner and you're going to fold it, and it's really important to line it up first closest to this point over here so that your paper is straight, and then you line it up down here. But you want that corner to be flush. So making sure you do that first and then worry about this corner. So this, the top end wants to be flush first, and then the bottom end. And then you can run your finger along there. Again, with all origami, you need to make sure that that crease is tight. Then the next thing you're going to do, so that was top left down to the side. Now we're going to take the bottom left and we're going to fold it up and align it, again, point first with the edge of that paper, and do your bone folding. All right, now we're going to take this point and fold it to match this edge. So I'm taking the point. I know where this piece we just did ends, so that's my beginning, and we're aligning the tip along this paper. Okay. Alrighty, so everybody getting to that point. And then we're going to take this piece and we are going to fold it. Seems a little buckled on my side. We're going to fold it at this point and align it with this line of the paper. So the point gets folded first because that's the trickiest part, and then the rest falls along. Okay, and you're going to do your making sure everything's nice and stiff. Okay, and then we are going to unfold the whole thing except from the bottom right or left corner. So we're going to flip this whole thing over so that that folded piece is at the top left. And now we're going to take our bottom right corner and just go into the center of that paper, trying to align it as nicely as possible with the fold line. Okay, making sure our fold is nice. And then we're going to bring it down, and we're going to take that tip again, and now we've created a new center point. We're going to put our point in there. So what we've done is from here we've gone right to that center point, then right to this center point. Okay, and we're going to leave it at that center point. We're going to take the whole thing and fold it, keeping that tip where it belongs, to line up with the diagonal line. Okay, so let me review. We did to the center, we did to the new center, and now we're just lining this up to the diagonal we created there. Okay, and we're making it nice and stiff. And now we're going to fold that again, lining it up to the paper we just folded. And making sure that we get it nicely lined up. You want it to be nice and evenly lined up. That's what gives you the even, Steven leaf. Now we're going to do this one more time, and the easiest way is to start with the thickest place and fold that in half, lining it up. Keep your fingers underneath it so that it doesn't slide out, and you're just kind of going to round it. See how I'm rounding it to get it to fold properly? And then when I've got it rounded, I'm going to fold that out. Whoops. Sometimes I have to move it on the side so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. And then once you've got it folded, you're going to mash it down again with your bone folder. There you go. Okay. And now we are going to accordion fold that. So we have all the lines we need for the accordion folds, but we don't really have the proper folding. So we're going to put our tip down. Actually, we're going to put our tip up. So this tip goes up. That's how we're going to start. And then it goes down and up from there. So you have your little tip showing at the front. Play with it until it lines up. And then we just accordion fold all the way to the back. I flip my paper. I don't know, some people do it differently, but, and you're trying to keep an even look on your accordion folds. Whoops. All the folds are there. You just got to keep them folding evenly. All the way until you meet that corner. So you may have one fold line left. Whoop. There we go. My folds are a bit off. Okay. And then you just go over that again with your bone folder. So you have this kind of thing happening now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip our paper back. We are going to fold up our folds again, and right away you're going to see that leaf take that shape again. Okay. We're going to fold all these folds over. Now we're going to fold along this line where that point is, and we're going to line it up with the edge of the paper. which means you might have to put your finger in there to make it fold for you. And use your bone folder to get all those folds happening. And there we have your finished envelope. And that's it. Isn't that cute? And then you can pop your letter inside there. Cute, right? So remember, key points. You want to have that A4 size, or that A5 size, or that A6 size. You do not want to use an 8.5 by 11 because it will not work. Alrighty, so I'm just going to quickly redo what I had going on here. Once you've got those folds, it's so easy to get them back. All right. Oops. What am I doing here? There we go. Fold that. Fold that. Oops, I folded it the wrong way. Okay. There we go. That is weird. Sorry. I must have gone in the wrong direction with my folds. Try that again. Fold. These are on the wrong way. There we go. There we go. And we're back. There we go. So we've created our proper folds here. I'm just going to stick my thing down. We've got our pop-up envelope that we created here. And we have our Design to Fit envelope here. So there's 3 envelopes. I hope that that helps you with your spring and summer card giving. And you would stick, obviously, a little glue dot under there. And you can decorate any of these any way you like. They're very cute. I hope you enjoyed tonight, and I will see you next week. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please don't forget to like the video below and to also share the link and subscribe to my channel. Have a great week. Bye.